It has become increasingly popular among many people who are not accustomed to following the Hebrew root understanding of things to become fascinated and inquisitive about the feast of the Lord, quote unquote, as they would refer to them. Exactly what are these feast days and what are they about? Hi, this is Barry Phillips with 10-Minute Torah, day number 4 of the Torah portion Emor, talking about say softly, speak softly. And so we come to Leviticus chapter number 23, and this is a hallmark chapter that describes for us each of the feast days, what they're about, how to celebrate them, when to celebrate them. But before we get into the feasts themselves, that's probably tomorrow. Today, let's look at some foundational understanding of what these feast days are about. The Hebrew word here is haMo'edim, H-A, capital M-O, apostrophe E-D-I-M. Ha, meaning the, Mo'edim, or moed. What is a moed? Well, it is a appointed time. It's not just a happenstance occurrence. It's not that you run into someone, but rather it is an appointment. These feast days are appointments. They are scheduled events according to the sun, moon, and stars out of Bereshit or Genesis chapter 1, where Yah says that these planetary bodies are given the authority over the feast days. That is, that we look to the heavens to see when they take place. Another study for further on that. Go to the website or to the YouTube page here, Remnant of Israel, and look at the Signs in the Heavens videos. There should be 4 of them at this point. And so we look at the Mo'edim, and we understand that Moed comes from the root word Ya'ad, meaning to appoint, to design, or to designate. Let's think about Amos chapter 3, verse number 3. It says, "Would two walk together without having met?" Well, other translations might say, "without agreeing to do so." How can two walk or get together unless they agree? There is a better understanding of what that verse actually means, and that is that the two people who are walking together have an appointment to do so. It is appointed to them to meet and then travel together. The English would give us the idea that they set up the appointment between themselves by their own arrangement. The Hebrew, however, is suggesting more of a predestined, shall we say, prophesied event taking place, because it's not mankind doing the appointing or the arranging. Now, this is a prophetic picture, in my humble opinion. The fulfillment of Ezekiel chapter 37 and other such chapters among the prophets, it described that in the last days, Yah is going to bring the house of Israel, those 10 tribes that were a part of northern Israel, taken away by the Assyrians in 722 BC, and then ultimately they ended up being scattered throughout the clans of the earth. They became a part of other nations and other nationalities and ethnicities, so diluted from their original origin that they have forgotten who they are. Us. Whether we have a lineage of Hebrew by an ounce or not in our bodies, by adoption, we have become a part of this group, this house of Israel. Yah is awakening such people to return to the feast. Why the inquisitive heart? Why the questioning about these feast days? It's the work of the Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit. enlivening our hearts and causing our minds to ponder, to wonder, to ask the questions, because Yah is wanting to reveal these things to us. Now, Ezekiel says that in these last days that the house of Israel will be awakened to themselves, that they will become a single stick, that is, they will become a cohesive body, and then they will be rejoined to the southern kingdom, the tribe of Yehuda, Benjamin, the priesthood of Levi, and they will become one people again. Two people, two peoples, predestined, prophesied, sanctioned, righteously arranged to walk together. It's a moed. Now, the feast days are connected to the assembly. The assembly, the word here is Idah, E-D-A-H, Idah. And it's the idea of Idah that the moeds are attached to. It is about that which gathers and convenes together. So again, there's an appointed time for this congregation to congregate, to assemble, to meet together. In the book of Vayikra, we're studying over in chapter 24, verse 14, it says, "Bring the one who is cursed outside the camp, and all those who heard him shall lay hands on his head, and all of the Idah, the congregation, shall stone him." That is, they will exercise capital punishment. This is not a light body. This is not gathering just to have a meal and a celebratory worship service. This is a serious group. Over in Psalms chapter 82, verse 1, Elohim stands in the Idah of El, the congregation of Yahweh, and he judges in the midst of the Elohim. This is a serious group. Yah's not playing here. The gathering together of ourselves to celebrate the feast is not a light-hearted, easygoing, trivial, maybe we will, maybe we won't type of idea, but rather it is that which is designed for us by Yah himself. This is for serious folks, not for the average non-observant man who's not willing or desirous or even thinking about being part of Am Israel. This is for those who walk in the blood covenant of Yeshua. Now, if you are redeemed, if you were born again, Yah is calling you by his word. He is calling you by his spirit. He is calling you to accept the identity of being Israel. You may not, it's not a question of whether you're Jewish or not. It has nothing to do with that. This is a covenant body. The blood lineage may or may not be there. But if you are one with Messiah Yeshua, he calls you Israel. According to Ephesians chapter 2, stop calling yourself a Gentile. You're no longer Gentiles who are outside the covenant, but you're Israel who's been drawn to the covenant. And as such, Yah is asking you to join with him in these appointed times that he may reveal himself to you and that you may be a part of the Idah, the congregation of Elohim. Again, this is a power group. This is not about fried chicken and mashed potatoes. Folks, this is about celebrating our identity in Messiah, who has joined us again by his shed blood to our Creator and is making us one with him. This is about Yeshua revealing his righteousness to his body. It is about his people gathering together to prophetically celebrate events that have happened in the past, the spring feast, and events that are yet to take place, that is, those in the fall feast. Yah says in his word, he will be at these feasts. These are times he will keep. The only question is, will you and I keep them with him? We'll describe the feast for you tomorrow. Until then, shalom.